Well, last night I spoke with a Geelong pharmacist about the difficulties he was having dealing with federal authorities about when stage 2 of the vaccination rollout would begin and whether he would be included. And he wasn't alone. He figured from what he was told that there'd be a major delay in the rollout because of the delay in supplying doses to the aged and vulnerable for 1A and 1B. Well, today, confirmation of that, with the Pharmacy Guild of Australia confirming that their stage 2 rollout would now not begin in May, but in the middle of June. That's when pharmacists come into the role. Today, fresh from an Easter break, the Prime Minister fronted up to explain why Australia faced delays, including in the rollout of doses made locally.
There was over 3 million doses from overseas that were contracted that never came. And that obviously resulted in an inability to get 3 million other doses out and distributed through the network. And I think it's really important that that these points are made very clearly when we're talking about the rollout of the vaccine. Now, as CSL are ramping up their production and their systems are becoming even more efficient as they get into the rhythm of their production systems. There is also the approvals that must follow once batches are produced.
So there's our answer about the promise of CSL supplying 1 million doses every week. The approval process has slowed that down too. But what about a little bit more transparency for clinics, GPs and the public about how many vaccinations were done, where we're up to and what doses were on the way? Well, the Prime Minister said he was supportive of more transparency.
I think it is a good idea for us to have even more data transparency on these issues, and that's what I'll be discussing with the Premiers and Chief Ministers on Friday, but I'll be taking that to them on Friday to discuss. I think there is an interest and a keen appetite for more regular information. We are providing that weekly information, but there's no reason why these figures can't be done on a more regular basis, and we welcome that.
So he's got to get all the chief ministers and state premiers on board with this. Good luck. Meanwhile, in Brisbane, no sign of Labor's attack dog today, the Deputy Premier Stephen Miles. But the opposition leader took over from where Defence Minister Peter Dutton left off and gave it to the Deputy Premier.
He went too far and he has continued to do that. He's somehow trying to morph into this role of being the attack dog, and it doesn't work for you, mate, because you don't have the strength or the intellectual capacity to do it. So get back to your job.
So stand by for round 11 sometime tomorrow as the politics of our COVID rollout becomes even nastier. The fact is, as the PM pointed out today, the way we've been treated by the EU has done Australia no favours. And thank goodness they pressed go on a local production of AstraZeneca last August.
Were it not for our domestic manufacturing production capability of the AstraZeneca vaccine, Australia would not have a vaccination program. We wouldn't be talking about anyone getting vaccines. And that's why the decision we took to put that in place wasn't just important last August. It's important right now, because it is those very vaccines that are coming out of the CSL plan and going through the approval process. They're the vaccines that our vaccination program depends and relies upon.
So it seems we're being disadvantaged by where we are, our geography, and our success at suppressing the virus. At least we'll be seeing more GPs in charge of this operation in the weeks and months ahead, plus larger hubs, according to the Deputy Chief Medical Officer today, and both will be quite welcome. Officially, Australia is ranked 90 in the world on the vaccination rollout scoreboard. Not impressive, but we are close to COVID-free. We need to remember that. GPs will save the day from here. This is what they do. This is what they do well. And the more the feds can step away from now, the better.